Hello, my name is Elena Busuioc, and together with my colleague Simona Szakacs-Behling from Georg Eckert Institute for International Textbook Research in Germany, we present a paper on metaphors of solidarity and diversity in Romanian social studies textbooks. This paper is a result of a research project carried out in 2019 on metaphors in social studies textbooks in Romania. The project was funded by the Romanian Unit for Financing Research and Higher Education. We thus focus on two contested values of liberal multicultural societies, and we place our study within the current intellectual debates over the crisis of multiculturalism and its ability to manage cultural diversity across Europe. The so-called progressives dilemma pits solidarity against diversity in the context of migration societies. In an article published in Comparative Migration Studies in 2015, Will Kymlicka proposed a solution to this dilemma. His solution advocated multicultural societies' commitment to diversity as a means to achieve solidarity. However, this is a contested solution that has generated heated debates among scholars. In our paper, we are interested in metaphorical conceptualizations of solidarity and diversity and how these are reflected in education, particularly in social studies textbooks. Why metaphors of solidarity and diversity? There is widespread recognition of the crucial role played by metaphors in education, especially in mediating, teaching, and learning new abstract concepts. Metaphors help simplify abstract ideas by means of foregrounding analogies with concrete, more tangible concepts. At the same time, metaphors facilitate communication of these ideas by enabling students and young learners to make connections between what they already know and unfamiliar concepts. Why solidarity and diversity in textbooks? Dominant knowledge and ideology can be multimodally reproduced and strengthened in textbooks. And textbooks' role in the construction and reproduction of social norms and values is also widely acknowledged and researched. The context of our research is very important. It is characterized by the ongoing curricular reform in Romania, the second major reform after the fall of communism in 1989. A special feature of this reform is the aim to introduce more social studies courses and more formalized or compulsory content on diversity and multicultural society. Our research questions are: how are the abstract concepts of solidarity and diversity conveyed metaphorically in the examined textbooks, both visually and linguistically? And to what extent do the identified metaphors create new meanings or reinforce widely spread imagery of a multicultural society? In terms of methodological choices, we draw on discourse dynamics approach to metaphor, a method of linguistic metaphor identification proposed by Lynn Cameron and her colleagues. We thus identify linguistic metaphors of solidarity and diversity and indicate their vehicle terms. The topics of the metaphors or the target domains are predefined, namely solidarity and diversity, the concepts that we want to define and explain. This method allows us to systematically identify the vehicles or source domains through which these abstract concepts of solidarity and diversity are explained. In the case of visual metaphors, we rely on content analysis for visuals to search, code, and analyze the visuals in which diversity and solidarity are explicitly part of the image, or they are key discourse topics of the context surrounding the image. Once identified such visuals, we examine the metaphorical associations. Our corpus comprises 12 social studies textbooks for 5th, 6th and 7th grade of secondary education in Romania. Secondary education in which social education is a compulsory subject. And we now move to the findings. First, we noticed that solidarity and diversity are defined and conveyed as cogwheels and nodes in a network. Diversity and solidarity and their derivatives, such as tolerance, living together, respect, minority rights, community, and so forth, help the democratic society function. They keep together the society. Diversity is the core of the multicultural society. The underlined words are the linguistic expressions of the metaphors solidarity is a cogwheel and diversity is a central node in a network. Mechanism-based explanations of multicultural societies, in which all components are intrinsically connected, reveal the need to ensure efficiency, stability, equality, and sustainability. If one component fails to function, the entire mechanism collapses. At this point, we have to admit that if we take into account these metaphors explaining human society through analogies with aspects of non-human imagery, we may think that this could indicate a post-humanist approach to decentering the human and privileging technological elements. This idea of decentering the human, which is also the focus of this year's conference, is consistent with Braidotti's post-human contamination or hybridization between technology and other living beings, where technology is seen as an intrinsic possibility of human beings, not in opposition with them. However, upon closer scrutiny, we observe that these metaphors serve a conventional liberal conceptualization of society, privileging the individual human being, reverting actually to a deep humanism. Let us now take a closer look at the findings by examining each set of metaphors in turn. The metaphor solidarity is a cog in a mechanism is a conventional metaphor that is also expressed multimodally, that is, both visually and linguistically. This metaphor reveals essential aspects of the multicultural society seen as a large mechanism with cogwheels that need to work all the time to make the society work. People are also parts, cogs of this mechanism, and they have a precise role that they must fulfill in order for the society to prosper. Also, the danger of mechanism malfunction is an existential danger for the functioning of society. The cogwheel metaphor might be interpreted as stemming from a more encompassing, also highly conventional metaphor of the universe as clockwork. This slide contains two examples of visual and multimodal expressions of the cogwheel metaphor found in the corpus. Another set of metaphors that we identified define solidarity and diversity via biological analogies with more familiar concepts such as tree, leaves, and branches. Society is a living organism, a superorganism, or ecosystem that expresses itself through a variety of naturally grown aspects that can characterize life and living together. Solidarity and diversity are vital components of the multicultural society, essential to ensuring a naturally balanced ecosystem. Furthermore, solidarity and diversity as a tree is another metaphorical mapping that, at first glance, promise to reveal a decentering of the human. There are some linguistic expressions. Here are some linguistic expressions of the metaphors, and on the next slide, there are also visual and multimodal expressions of the same metaphor. Notice that the image on the right depicts the intercultural society as a tree whose roots, trunk, and leaves are the values and principles that form the society. Culture, identity, and beliefs are the roots. Cultural diversity, human rights, and intercultural dialogue make up the trunk, whereas solidarity, tolerance, respect, among others, are the leaves of this tree. Again, this could be seen as metaphorical representations of a post-human society as an ecosystem, in which the individual is but a component, a living organism of this ecosystem. To summarize, we consider that at first glance, cogs, nodes, and trees are metaphorical representations of solidarity and diversity that suggest a decentering of the human, a possible turn towards post-humanist ideals in educational content. However, upon closer look, these metaphors actually reaffirm humanistic values and ideals. Individuals need to accept and ensure solidarity and diversity and other values of multicultural societies within their countries. It is their responsibility. They have to nurture and protect these values. Solidarity and diversity are grounded in the spatial boundedness of the nation. The limits of the human, of the individuals, are the limits of a multicultural society. Diversity and solidarity are still discussed within the nation, the territorial state, not necessarily negotiated in spaces built upon reciprocity and relationships. Finally, we conclude by remarking that the use of metaphors to convey ideals of solidarity and diversity in Romanian social studies textbooks point to an understanding of society that strongly matches Kymlicka's normative vision of a multicultural national solidarity. This form of multiculturalism is firmly anchored in dominant versions of political neoliberalism that reproduced in European policy making. We consider that these metaphors reveal a missed opportunity for the current Romanian curricular reform to make a shift towards a decentering of the human and towards a post-humanist approach in education. Thank you for your attention.